Hi everyone. So I just started going through a video series on Angular 2 or 4 or whatever they're calling it today. And I haven't done Angular for about 2 years because I really I used Angular 1 for about a year and a half, and pretty much I know that framework fairly well. And I realized after working with it how absolutely horrible it is. And it's why I started looking at React as an alternative. And React it's just better in every single way. That, I'm not being opinionated or anything. But I did realize that I told myself that, I'm not going to be one of those people who just dismisses something and just, I know best and there's no other way to do it. But I can tell you that what I'm seeing right now that's happening in the Angular community, it's just wrong. It is so wrong. They are creating. It's the same idea that Elm is putting on the table. It's the same problem that I see with Ruby. It's just wrong. It is so wrong. Do you realize that you're creating an ecosystem where if you go into Angular as your first framework and you stick there and you stay there, you will not know anything about how the browser works, how to structure applications in vanilla JavaScript. You will know nothing, absolutely nothing. If you are a junior and you get into Angular and you stay there, you will become less of a developer for the rest of your life. This is dangerous. I'm serious. I'm not saying that you can't build stuff with these frameworks. You absolutely can, but the way that the mindset that the people behind these products have is that they basically create. It's basically a massive DSL ecosystem where you learn their tool. You don't learn how things actually work. React doesn't do. At least React has something that is closer to the HTML standards, like common patterns. If you do React for a year, you are going to learn quite a bit about how rendering system works and how to structure HTML, and you will develop these subtle understandings of the entire browser ecosystem. If you do Angular 2, like what I'm doing right now, you have these tag systems and all this syntax that is only going to work in their environment. It has absolutely no application in just regular browser, in the regular browser. I feel so strongly about this that I would even say that if you are completely fresh, if you're just learning how to program, avoid this. I'm giving you advice. Avoid learning Angular as your first framework, because if you do, you will learn how to do Angular programming. You won't learn how to just be a good developer, and that's one of my core beliefs. That if you I think you've heard me say this before. If you tell me that you're a web developer and I ask you, okay, what tools do you use, and you start by saying I use Dreamweaver, then you're not a developer. You're a Dreamweaver person. You know how to use that tool because the tool does everything for you, and you don't understand how everything works, which means that you and I cannot have a conversation about application structure. We cannot have an in-depth discussion. It's the same thing like what Photoshop is. These tools, there are tools that give you a lot of convenience, and they're really great for people who know what they're doing, but they're also a crutch for some people, and it depends on you as an individual how you're going to use them. If you start using Angular and you used React and you've done vanilla program and you know that, well, I'm really productive with Angular, then do Angular. But what I'm seeing right now is fairly dangerous at for beginner programmers, and I'll gladly have this debate with somebody. I'll even buy you a beer. I'll just call, send me a message, and if you're in Gothenburg, let's go out, have a drink, and have a discussion about this, because I really want to talk to somebody who can explain to me why it's a good idea to create almost a completely custom syntax and an ecosystem where you quite literally lock yourself into what Google or the Angular team wants to be. They basically put themselves in a position very similar to what the web standard team did with HTML and like what Oracle did with Java. Like they seem to have this idea that, all right, we want to provide an ecosystem for you, and if you need something, you come talk to us. But that's just in my world, that's a very, very outdated philosophy. It's just, I mean, it doesn't work, in my opinion. It's the exact opposite of open source, of all these ideas and movements that we see in programming today, where we're moving towards like people getting the maximum amount of freedom to create services and build companies and build teams and like communities around innovation. I don't want that. I don't want to be in work with a tool where I literally, it's an all or nothing type of deal, and that's what this framework is about. It's all or nothing. It's sorry. Anywho, I'll keep on going through it because I believe that there might be some good ideas, and I want to be one of those people who, even though I don't like the technology, I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to understand the mindset and like not just dismiss something. I want to see. I want to believe that there's a value in most things. So I'll keep on going through this. But my first this is a warning from me to you if you're just starting out. If you want to be really good at JavaScript and front-end development, don't start with Angular. Don't make that your first choice. I recommend either React or Vue.js. Even that will be better for you. And you can also check out maybe Backbone. It's a little bit outdated. I don't use Ember either because it's the same type of like idea that you have this ecosystem that does everything. And same thing with Elm. Don't start with Elm. Just don't. That's for later. If you want to like learn about functional programming and like all that stuff, do Elm later. I mean, I'm not saying don't learn it. I'm saying just keep an open mind. Even start by doing vanilla JavaScript and learning you're doing that stuff. Because if you dive into one of these like all or nothing frameworks to start off with, odds are that you are going to lose a lot of learning and that stuff. I mean, trust me, I did it. I started with Angular as well, and I lost I can't even imagine how much knowledge I lost from using just that framework. And today I even argue that I'm pretty sure, and I will put my money where my mouth is, I'm putting together a video about like how I think that you could create something almost as scalable and probably, I'm not saying as good because like I'm just a single guy. I just want to see if I can do it, to create a project structure or a mindset or an idea or a framework, if you will. And it's not my framework, it's just like me creating a project which will scale and provide most of the value that you get from these frameworks in just vanilla JavaScript. So we'll see if I can do it, or if I have to sit here all embarrassed and say, hey, you know what? I'm actually not as smart as I think I am. Which, well, I'm not that smart, I'm going to be honest. But hey, what do I have to lose?